Attention is the most elusive, volatile, and precious resource you get to work with as an indie game developer. It is hard enough to grab your audience's attention when you are in such a competitive market. Every month, 300 to 500 games get released on Steam alone, which means that attention is scarce. And when you grab attention, you do not want to squander it. What do games like Doom, Counter-Strike, Borderlands, Payday, GTA 5, and League of Legends have in common? Well, they have mastered the process of recycling your attention. If you take a look carefully, each one of these games offers some sort of a news delivery method embedded straight into their main menu. These developers know just how precious of a commodity a gamer's attention is, and they have absolutely zero intentions wasting it. It's one of those things that once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's amazing just how many AAA developers use this feature and how many indie developers don't. So in the process of figuring out the mechanics behind implementation of such a news delivery system into my own games, I figured this might actually be a good cause to make a tutorial. Now, I didn't set out to make only one tutorial on how to make a single type of news delivery module. Oh no, I decided to carpet bomb this subject with a total of 5 completely different methods to deliver news in your game, depending on if you're making a 2D game, 3D game, mobile games in vertical mode, games that need lots of news delivered, games that need only one piece of news delivered, and the whole system is completely dynamic and autonomous that combines web development and game development, and that allows you to get news into your game without having to update the game files and re-upload them to the store. This is a completely live system that talks to a web server, retrieves whatever news it can find, and inserts it right into the game. This is truly a system that you set and forget. You program it once and you never touch it again. And if you take the time to implement the system into all of your games from this point on, you will essentially have a direct link to your gamers, to your viewers and your content consumers, even if they don't follow you on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, or if they're not subscribed to your newsletter, you have a direct link to deliver your news to them. So in this video, I wanted to present you the results from the tutorials for these 5 modules. Let's take a look. In the very first tutorial, as a warm-up, we learn how to set up a web server and how to receive a single piece of news. Now, under live circumstances, when you are ready to deploy your game and your news system, you will want to get yourself a web hosting plan from service providers like GoDaddy or Infinity Free, alongside with a domain name. However, lucky for you, there are plenty of web development environments that are available to you as open source solutions. Just install them and run them, and you have a real-life simulation of a web server running off of your computer. In the first few episodes, I show you how to set one of those up and get running with your first web page containing the news which your Godot engine game is going to end up reading and loading into your main menu. In the second episode, we kick it up a notch by introducing image loading for our news tabloids. These are single news article tabloids, and these are the 2 examples that allow you to reveal the details for each piece of news in either the slide down or in a fade in manner. And keep in mind, these images are downloaded from the web server, which means that anyone opening your game will always get up-to-date news and thumbnails. In the next episode, you will learn how to get a multi-news module set up in your game. This is a module that allows you to load up several pieces of news and several thumbnails sequentially one by one. We also introduce a concept of call to action, which is a crucial feature of successful marketing material delivery. In a nutshell, if your news piece consists a call to action, which usually consists of some sort of a destination which you want your viewers or gamers to get to, such as a newsletter sign-up page or perhaps a store page for your freshly released project, Our news module is going to generate a button node which, when clicked, will forward the users to whatever destination you wish them to. It also customizes the words on the button to anything you want it to be based on your inputs on the web server. Not only that, we've also taken some time to gussy up the presentation of the main menu, and we've also prepared the news module in such a way that allows us to customize the source of the news, meaning that each game can have a common source of news, such as studio news, and then also it can get game-specific news, which means these are news that only this game is capable of showing. Mainly things like DLCs, sales and merchandise, news press releases, and really just anything you may want to forward your players in regards to this particular game title. Having handled the basics, I figured this was about time we had some fun, and I took some inspiration from the Doom 2016 main menu that loads up each piece of news into a separate tabloid for your viewing. The most important part is that this news module still talks to the exact same news page we have been using in our last exercise. As a matter of fact, we have prepared a redundant system that takes into account games which would like to display vertical thumbnails and horizontal thumbnails. In both cases, those still talk to the same web server and the same web page. So yet again, this means that you may have multiple games in multiple styles and they all still take their news from the one same common source, even though they might be using different styled thumbnails. We had a lot of fun with this one. We had some particles, some smoke effects, a little ambush lying in the background and the foreground, and just a quickly painted background, mainly to suggest something Doom-like. Lots and lots of fun with this particular one, but nothing quite like the next one. Oh boy. This has got to be probably the most hilarious thing I've done in Godot to this point. A fully 3D implemented system that loads your news and thumbnails into the game and displays them into some sort of a 3D Pip-Boy-like contraption. And those buttons down there? Oh yeah, those are fully 3D buttons. You can click on them in pretty much any rotational position that you set your camera at. This 3D model can be angled at any ridiculous angle and it's still going to detect your mouse clicks. My personal favorite is the teeny tiny mini screen in the bottom left corner showing you the news counter. Oh yes, and what is it that I use for the background for this one? Why, of course, the Red Rocket gas station from Fallout 4. This is the 5th news module that I created for this tutorial, and you will see me create the 3D model from scratch, do all the UV mapping and texturing, and getting it into Godot looking just right. These 5 tutorials pretty much cover the widest basis you need to create just about any type of news delivery module you want for your game. This educational content and more is what you can find on the conceptbay.net platform. And the very first episode discussing the basics of getting the web server set up and getting Godot to talk to the web server to retrieve some news is going to be freely available on the conceptbay.net platform. Don't forget to join the Discord server if you have any questions, leave a comments down in the YouTube section, and I will see you guys in the next video.